So June is Pride Month, and the Navajo Nation is celebrating by holding what it's calling the largest Indigenous Pride celebration on the Navajo Nation. The community was hit hard by COVID-19. Last year's celebrations had to be scaled back for safety. So to go in depth on this is Alray Nelson joining us live. He's the Executive Director of Navajo Nation Pride. Alray, it is so good to see you. I'm really glad that you can be with us. Tell me first of all just about how long have you been having Pride events on the Navajo Nation? I understand that you know this is a relatively recent thing, isn't it? All right, just a second. I need to. There we go.
You know what?
Alray, my sound was muted, so I'm going to ask you again. Basically, Pride events haven't been happening for a long time on the Navajo Nation. Is that right? This is fairly new.
Yes, it's fairly new. Navajo Nation Pride was founded in 2017. I'm one of its co-founders, and I currently serve as its executive director. We actually have a huge planning committee, and we were planning to host the largest Pride event, and then COVID hit. And so our Navajo people have always celebrated Navajo Nation Pride since 2017 onward. But we're looking forward to bringing an amazing event this coming June.
Well, and you all are such an important part of the broader Utah community, and you spread well beyond Utah as well. But you know, we've gone through so many changes societally in the acceptance and embrace of gay pride, LGBTQ pride. I wonder, how has that been mirrored on the Navajo Nation? What has that process been like? What kinds of cultural obstacles have you been working through?
Yes, so we need to understand, especially for the audience listening, since time immemorial, being a first American indigenous to this country that we call Turtle Island, surpassing the colonial borders of Utah, the Four Corner states, Arizona, and Colorado, and New Mexico, our Navajo people, along with so many other indigenous tribal nations across the United States, have resided on this land since time immemorial. And since that point, our LGBTQIA and Two-Spirit relatives were always honored, revered, and seen as sacred beings among the people. And so we've always had roles here. And with that knowledge, we're in the process of reclaiming that. And so we understood that because of Christianity, because of boarding schools, because of the failed assimilation practices of the United States, our Native people continue to thrive, and we continue to be resilient today. So Diné Pride is reclaiming that knowledge and sharing that with the communities, especially with our young LGBTQ young people that need to understand it's okay to be who you are, because the first Americans in this country always valued and honored your life.
I want to dig into that even a little bit further, because I'm fascinated by what you're saying, and we will get to the basics about what's happening for the Pride events as well. But the indigenous peoples, various tribes, and I'm sure there's diversity within how they would treat people within their groups. But Navajo historically colonization were accepting and even honoring of people who were of a different sexual orientation. Is that right? And then really what changed was getting, I'm not sure how you would say it, but getting enculturated into this what we brought in.
Yes, that's correct. And since time immemorial, our grandparents, the elders, because we're a matriarchal society, so we're completely different from this American nuclear knowledge of what a family should look like. For Navajo people, our women have always been the head of the home. And then from there, it goes on to our grandmas, our aunties, and to the women. And in addition to the women, we always understood and accepted our queer and our lesbian and our transgender women. They've always held a role and continue to hold that sacred role in our communities today. So we're trying not to forget that and to reclaim that knowledge because of acculturation, because of assimilation practices. And as we look into the future, I wanted to just share with you that Diné Pride this year, we selected a theme, and that's the resiliency and the strength of our indigenous women, our indigenous matriarchs. And so you'll see that definitely received in all the programming over the next year for 2021 going into 2022. And we're really excited to also announce the fact that we launched our Indigenous Scholarship Program that's been successful for the last 3 years, where we send 2 LGBTQ Native young people from our communities to college in the fall. So we're looking forward to having that taken care of this coming fall semester for those 2 young people.
Fantastic. And the events happening for this Pride, for this Pride Month, what can people participate in? Is there anything going on online if people are further away from the Navajo Nation?
Yes, so Diné Pride, we're located in the capital of our nation, which is Window Rock, Arizona. Our nation encompasses into the borders of Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona. I'm actually located in New Mexico today with my husband, Brennan. And what people can understand is that Diné Pride because I felt like a lot of nonprofits, a lot of pride organizations since last year, we were really hit hard because of this pandemic. People are not necessarily giving that much anymore because they're in the process of, picking themselves back up after having this shared experience of defeating this monster that we call COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And mind you, it hit my people really hard. Per capita, no other person of color in the whole country was hit hardest by COVID-19 in this pandemic than the Navajo people. And we continue to lead the nation in vaccinations. And so we're really proud of that fact. So our people continue they're showing that resilience in our communities. But what you can expect is that we adapted. And so Diné Pride this year is going to actually feature several in-person and virtual events. So definitely go to NavajoNationPride.com and look at our schedule events. Pride Week this year is starting the third week in June, which is June 14th through the 20th. And our only in-person event we're hosting is we're actually going to be putting on the first ever Indigenous Pride March and Parade in Window Rock, Arizona on Saturday, June 19th. And in addition to that evening, we're going to host a closing ceremony. We're actually going to light up the whole Navajo Nation Capitol in rainbow colors.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. I love the Capitol there with Window Rock, the eponymous rock just behind the Capitol. Hey, so good to talk to you, Alray Nelson, the Executive Director of Navajo Nation Pride, and it's NavajoNationPride.com. Is that right? Is that the site? Okay.
Yes.
I imagine. I'll bet there's some folks out there watching who would love to know a little bit more about that history and just and your events as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.